Well, some news we found out yesterday here in Las Vegas that Seattle players on the COVID protocol list. This is not the way they wanted to start their season. These are 5 very key players that were going to be a part of their team this season, starting with Alexiak, the defenseman, and those forwards there, McCann, Donskoy, Johansson, Yarncroke, guys that maybe like when Vegas started, lived above expectations, produced more than they ever have in their NHL career because of the chances they were going to get. Seattle wants to be aggressive, hardworking, and strong defensively, Kevin Weekes, and that's how they built their team, didn't they? And so what would you have their expectations at?
I think the expectations for me externally are to compete for a playoff spot, and I definitely think they can just based on the lack of strength in that Pacific Division, for sure. I think there's a huge opportunity for them. I like the build of their team. It starts in net for me with Grubauer, who's a Vezina Trophy type goalie, certainly based on what he did in Colorado. Yeah. Drieger complements him really nicely, and I like the back end. Now, I think goals might be a little bit harder to come by in the offensive end, but all things being equal, the expectations, in speaking to their ownership out there, are exceptionally high. And Ronnie Francis, their GM, my former teammate, they've spent $2 billion to date. They haven't played a regular season game yet. So, yes, the expectations for them are to push for a playoff spot.
If we would have gone back 6 years ago before the Vegas Golden Knights entered the league, I think expectations would have been pretty low, considering what Columbus and Nashville and the Atlanta Thrashers
that
did.
Riley Smith quote we saw yesterday.
Yeah, right. Yeah,
exactly.
We just were glad to win the first game, so we don't go 0-82, right?
That's what they were thinking.
Well, that ramps up the expectations for the Seattle Kraken.
Exactly.
Don't make no mistake about it. These players know that. They don't want to get embarrassed. So, I mean, I think there's pressure on this group to do. Not go to the Stanley Cup Finals like the Vegas Golden Knights did, but they have to be a team that is competitive night in and night out and compete for a playoff spot.
Yeah, Vegas won their first game on the road in Dallas. James Neal got a couple big goals. They won their second game. They came back home after the tragedy here in Las Vegas, won that home opener. They're off and running. Getting off to a good start might be a challenge for Seattle with all the players who are out tonight. Let's talk about Vegas. So when you think about Vegas now, they've been in the league 4 years. Stanley Cup final, lost in the first round, conference final. Unprecedented in professional sports history to be that successful out of the gate. But big change in net, Robin Lehner. That's a big change for Marc-Andre Fleury, Vezina to him. How do you feel he can handle his expectations?
Skill-wise, he has it. Size, strength, he's got all those components that it takes to be a top-end goalie. He's played very well. And let's give him a lot of credit for everything he's been able to overcome, which has been well documented in terms of some of the adversity that he's had to overcome. Now he's trying to advocate on behalf of the players, which is also very admirable. Yep. We respect that. No question for the Panda here in Vegas. However, the great Marc-Andre Fleury is gone. Now this is his net. This is what he wanted, the opportunity to be a clear-cut guy. He was able to resume his career with the New York Islanders, played exceptionally well. Went to Chicago, was outstanding. Now came to Vegas, got himself a 5x5 in terms of contract, $5 million at 5 years. Panda, this is now your jungle here in Las Vegas. It's your crease. Let's see what he can do, fellas.
Big shoes to fill. Marc-Andre Fleury, you think about him, a fan favorite, right? What's not to like about Marc-Andre Fleury? I don't care who you are. I mean, Kevin, you know this. You and I know this. A goaltender that you're playing with, if he's a fan favorite, you want to be just as popular, right? Totally. And I think for Robin Lehner, he looks like he's in good shape this year. Shed a lot of pounds.
He did.
I think for Vegas, it's going to be important to manage his time during the regular season. Make sure that he is fresh come playoff time. They will be in a division that they should finish first, if at worst second. So it shouldn't be about throwing him out there every single night. You want to save his best play for the playoffs. But don't forget about Laurent Brossoit. I mean, he's a pretty good backup. I think he's going to play north of 30 games. And I think that in doing that, that'll give the Panda a chance to play his best hockey come playoff time and hopefully win a Stanley Cup for the Vegas Golden Knights.
Is that a crystal ball that I see?
That's what
because you basically just called exactly where I was going, and I love it, Bouch. Give me a little bit. Reason being, I couldn't agree with you more. You're playing in the West, travel's demanding, and yes, this is Vegas. It's easier on the body, no question about it. But all that being said, you have to manage Robin Lehner, and maybe 50 to 55 starts max is the sweet spot for him, because this is all trending, as you outlined, to them winning a Stanley Cup. That's the bigger goal in mind.
Windows here, right?
Windows here right now, and that's the expectation of their owner, Bill Foley, and that organization. So why not?
Leonard's elite. One of the best goalies when his team is down a man. His goals expected numbers higher than anybody else. Like, this is a real deal. So they got a great guy in net off of Marc-Andre Fleury's amazing year.
Thanks for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.